Alright, the goal of this video real quick is just to cover lead management with high level and how to automate responses back to new leads and get them to book appointments and to take next steps. So as always, if you want me to build some of this stuff out for your account, feel free to reach out to me at highlevelguru@gmail.com. Drop by the website or shoot me a call on that number. I'd be happy to build out some of this stuff on an hourly basis for you. So let's jump into it. New lead management. We've got a lot of leads coming into high level. A lot of ways to get leads into high level. Facebook, TikTok, surveys. The big problem is what happens after that lead comes in. How do we respond to that in a way that makes sense, and how do we create some sort of actionable next step for the client? So let's just jump into high level. I'm in an automation here. I've called it new Facebook lead, but this could be a new lead source from anywhere. It could be a TikTok lead. It could be a survey completed. Great thing about the workflows up here is you can put in multiple different triggers that would feed into this. You can see here I'm kind of designing my first text to the customer right now. So it says customer first name. I'm just going to assume that we have their first and last name for this video. Thanks for reaching out to the High Level Guru. Are you ready to book a service call? So pretty traditional maybe outcome from a lead. You know, they've taken next steps online. Now, how do we handle that? So we could just try to respond to what they say, but I've noticed that kind of sucks. So why don't we just keep this simple? So 1, yes, book service call now. Let's give the customer some options, and the idea is what we want to do is we want to restrict what they enter in. And what we want to do is we want to make it clear that these numbers are the way to respond. And if we can isolate their feedback to just numbers, now you've really got an automation outcome here that you can control. If you're sitting here trying to figure out what they say, I think you're doing it wrong, in my opinion. So, yes, book service call for, say, next week. And how about this one? No, I'm just looking for more information. And maybe this helps. So here we go. So now we've got a menu of choices here. Let's go ahead and update this one for 3. And then maybe let's even tell them, please respond only 1 through 3. So we could put something like this in there. Keep in mind we're going to remind them of that if they break tradition here. And we could even put this at the bottom of the message too. So I mean, you can kind of sit here and play with, you know, how do I want this to look? But maybe this would be better down here at the bottom. So check this out. So now we've got the first text to the customer. Let's put a wait step in here. So let's just wait for them to reply. Yeah, I think there's tons of different variations that we could do here, but for the spirit of this video real quick, I'm just going to leave it on a non-timeout so we don't have to deal with what that would look like. Wait. I like to label my actions too. So it's critical, I think, when you're building these automations to really do yourself a favor and tell yourself what you're doing here. You know, caption some of this stuff too if you don't understand or if you're not familiar with the system. So we could caption that a text. You know, this one's already a wait step. So, you know, do yourself a favor and really kind of come up with something uniform here that you'll understand. Now we're going to throw an if statement on here because now we want to see did they reply. So if contact replied yes, and then again I'm going to, so did they reply, question mark. So if they did reply, now what we want to do, actually let's throw another little item on here. So did they reply, and actually we're not going to do an and because what we want to do is we want to see if they replied 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to leave did contact reply on there. Now we're going to pivot over here. We're going to make another if statement. And let's just see contact replied message is. So let's name this did they reply 1 through 3 only. So we're going to put some or statements in here. So contact replied message is 2. So the good thing again about forcing this response on these menus is now we only have 3 different pieces of input that are acceptable from the client. 1, 2, and 3. So did they reply 1, 2, and 3? Only. If not, let's send them another message. Please respond 1 through 3 only. Reminder to respond. So we're naming our action. And then this is going to be kind of interesting. We're going to wait again now, because let's see if they responded to that. So wait for reply to that. And now let's decide if they replied. So if contact replied, so did they reply to our secondary little probe? And here's something we can do. This is going to create an infinite loop in here if they keep on pushing bad content into the keyboard, but usually that doesn't happen. So if they replied, I'm just going to push them back to here. And then we're just going to, they in theory could stay in this loop if they keep on replying the wrong thing. But for the purpose of this video, let's just, we'll assume that the user isn't going to be malicious or anything like that. So now we've got it taken care of if they didn't reply. And we've kind of troubleshot here if they didn't reply to 1 through 3. Well, what if they did? Now we've got to figure out, well, what did they reply? And then let's just create an outcome for each one. Contact replied message is 1. So did they reply 1 question mark? Yes. If not, they probably replied 2 or 3. So if contact replied message is 2, type here. So did they reply 2? And then we've got one more. Contact replied message is 3. Cool, so now we've got these 3 blue branches are kind of our options here. So let's go back to our menu. Yes, book service call now. Yes, book service call for next week. So it looks like 1 and 2 are kind of the same action. So you'll like the outcome here. Let's just go to option 1. And let's call them by their first name again. Excellent. Here's our calendar link. Of course, put your calendar link in here. Put a trigger link in here. Do something, and then we could always automate off of that trigger link if they're clicking on that trigger link, and this thing can really just kind of go on forever. So the good thing about option 1 and option 2, if you remember, they were pretty similar for what we were doing. So we instead of duplicating the action, we can just kind of put a go-to statement in here. So now if they reply 1 or 2, it's going to be controlled by this calendar link. And like I said, if we make that a trigger link, now we can see if they're clicking on it. Now response 3 was they were just looking. No, I'm just looking for some more information. So here's the fun thing. If they responded 3, let's double down on this menu thing again. So we could easily just say, here's a text with the free info. But typically to create value for your client, you're going to want to pester these people and really try to push harder. So what was our menu again here? I'm forgetting it. No, I'm just looking for more information. So perfect. Let's call them by their first name again. I know you're info, but jumping on a quick call, let's advertise this, might still be the best bet. Do you have time later this week when we can talk? Let's just do this menu thing again. 1 yes, let's book a time to talk to. No, just send me the free info. So I like this. One last shot is what we'll call this action here. So now let's wait. Same thing. We're going to wait for a reply. Contact replied to our step. One last shot. Wait for reply only. What I like about wait for reply only is it only interacts with the customer when they're interacting. And it's not really a pest. So now we're going to wait for reply. Now let's just see if they replied. So if contact replied yes, now let's do a little bit of business. One last shot. We could always remind them here. I like telling the user what to do here. I love encouraging a little bit of compliance with the automation. Keeps everything nice and smooth. People like to be told what to do on the automation too. So, did they reply? And if they replied, now let's just go over to our if statement here and let's play this little game. Let's make sure that the user replied the right thing. So, is one or, we're going to change this from and to or, big difference here. Replied message is 2. Did they reply 1 or 2? If they didn't, we're going to tell them one more time, please reply only 1 or 2. Yes, I could have copied and pasted that. Now we're going to wait. We're going to wait for them to reply to that message. So let's see if they do something. Contact reply, wait for reply only. And then this would be kind of a situation here where we could just loop it back to the original. So let's just bing. So now it's going to come back up here and it's just going to qualify it. Did they reply 1 or 2? So it'll keep them in this forever loop. Or as soon as they reply 1 or 2, it's going to pop them over here. So let's go 1 or 2 again. I know we're kind of trailing on in this video here, but the whole goal is to really push these people and try to get max value for your customer. So did they reply 1? If not, they replied 2. So if I'm sure we could probably use the else statement here, but I like to do it like this, just in case you build out more menu options. Did they reply 2? So if they replied 1, remember we said, hey, you sure you don't want to book an appointment? So let's go back to one last shot here. If they replied 1, yes, let's book a time to talk. Well, perfect. We already had actually some automation for that. So if you remember, let's just this go to statement is really fantastic in here. Because now we're just going to go to up here where we already have the automation for send calendar link. So we don't have to recreate any of that automation. Now if they replied 2, this is where you would text, email, or whatever. Okay, thanks. Here's the free info. So, give up, offer free info. I like the free info on these plays because the free info lets you figure out, are these people serious or not? Anybody responding and asking for the free info and then finding a way to resist this charming automation and still ask for the free info twice is not a lead, in my opinion. So, happy to build this type of automation for you. Happy to share this automation for you with you if you reach out to me. This is just a basic handling of an inbound lead from Facebook. So if you like this stuff, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to build you some more of this.